we start,
Go
President?
ahead, yeah.
Is everybody ready? First off, thank you everyone for coming. Today was a historic day. Never before has the state legislature censured an elected official. It was warranted, and I'm grateful for all those that participated in the process. This was not an easy decision to come through, as we were working together closely with our body, listening to all the feedback we were getting from phone calls, text messages, and emails coming in, working and having conversations with the family that was at the target of Natalie Cline's post. I want to thank the school board for their swift action in taking action and doing all that they could on their end. I think it was appropriate what they did, and it was a unanimous vote. So as we went through the process, that was something that we took into consideration as well, both in the House and I believe in the Senate. And so I just want to express again, and I've expressed it multiple times before, but my sincere apologies and love for the girl and their family. What they're going through is unprecedented, and it's unforgivable on so many fronts. There's been recent posts by people out there, again, by unelected officials, but supporters of Natalie Cline, and it's wrong. And it's sad, and we need to come together as a community and put our arms around the family and lift them up and support them through this time. And so we're committed to doing that. They're great people. I received a text message from their parents thanking us for how quickly and thoughtfully we moved through this process, and they've been great to speak to and work with, and we're fortunate to have them in our state and our community. So with that, President Adams.
Yeah, thank you. Again, you need, as I think about my 16 grandchildren, and I think about the great things social media can do, I think about what has happened to a gal in high school. We have seen since 2000 to 2010, the amount of high school girls going to the emergency room was pretty much flat. Since 2010 to today, it's gone straight up. Social media. You're seeing social media bills, and this is an example of what social media can do. When you attack somebody's self-esteem, when you demoralize, that's social media at its very worst, and that's what we've seen here. I'd like to thank the speaker, those sponsors, those that have been involved. This is a difficult situation. It is very tough to do. Never before in the history of the legislature have we censored anyone that we can find. This is something we take very seriously. Again, my heart goes out to the family, to the friends, the kids, those that what she's going through, and it's not a happy day for Utah, but we felt like we've addressed the problem properly, and again acted as swiftly as we think is possible after we evaluated all the options. So, Speaker, why don't we open it up?
Hold on, can I just, maybe the sponsors, is there anything you guys want to say, if we may?
Well, I'll just, say really quickly, I wish we didn't have to be here today. I wish we didn't have to be talking about this instance, about this abuse and bullying. But I am encouraged by the response of the legislature, by the response of the community, saying what is right and what is wrong. We're making a very clear statement that it is not okay to target children. It is not okay to target private citizens, especially by someone in a position of trust by their constituents. And so we are sending a very clear message that this kind of activity is not acceptable.
So then we'll open it up. We'll start. Yeah, we'll try to get to everyone.
So I think for me, this is a sad day in many ways. That we are having to do, we had to do a censorship of someone that is an elected position that should be a role model, that should be taking care of our children and holding them up so that we are able to allow them to be empowered, to learn, and to grow. And instead, we put this young person in a situation where they become a victim of bullying and all kinds of statements. That's not what we should be doing. Our education system should be focused on helping young people succeed, whether it's as a student, whether it's as a student athlete, whether it's as a person. And we do have to be very focused on making sure that we are helping every student succeed. And this was not an example of that. And that makes me sad. It makes me sad for this young girl. It makes me sad for her family. And that's what I think you saw the swift action that was taken, was because of the concern for a young woman and her family.
Is it okay if we start with Ben, then we'll come around the room, so go ahead.
Why not impeachment?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Do you want me to start?
Yeah,
Who wants to go?
It's something that we thought about. We talked a lot about it. We spoke with, we spent a lot of time going back and forth on it. But ultimately, impeachment is a political process that we felt like would put that girl and her family in the middle of a tug-of-war of sorts and become a political football. And I don't think that's what's best for the girl, for the family, nor honestly, I don't think it's right to give Natalie Cline a national platform to speak from, and that would do that. And in a couple of short months, the voters will have the opportunity to hold her accountable at the ballot box. And I hope that's what happens, and I'm confident that that's what will happen.
And I think the speakers answered that really well. We've acted as swiftly as we think we can. We think we've made our position very clear. But as he said, we don't believe that is in the best interest of the victim, even though we've seen and had people ask. We're trying to weigh the victims, what's best for her. So, Senator Miller?
And I just want to say, I think because the State Board of Education took the action they took, that they really stripped much of her power and her engagement on the State Board of Education.
Well, she can still vote.
Now we can let the voters decide.
Representative Spanlove, before we go, let's go. Okay? Go ahead.
Speaker, you have, some of your body sources are telling me is divided on impeachment. Some of them wanted it to go that far. Is impeachment now off the table? Because presumably you could start the process at the end of the session and have meetings over the summer.
Yeah. So impeachment takes a 2/3 vote in the House and a 2/3 vote in the Senate to convict. There was some support in our body for impeachment, but there was not enough even for a majority vote. And so to kind of, for that to play out, again, put the family in the middle of that debate, I don't think is best. I think we took the right action. It was historical. Never in the state's history has an elected official been censured. And so this was a historical event, and historical actions followed.
Isn't calling it historical just kind of self-congratulatory, because it really doesn't do anything other than say we disapprove of what you did? I mean, it's the first time.
I'm not the one that writes history, Brian. We've looked back. History wrote itself. Again, I would say define this as historical, so not self-congratulatory.
Yeah. And we've made a clear statement. I mean, this has never been done. I mean, there's no question where we're at. We've spoken very clearly, we've spoken very methodically, and hopefully you'll respect that. I mean, this is significant, and never before has it been done. Very difficult to do on an elected official, and we've done it. So I think it speaks for itself, and hopefully you understand the gravity of censoring someone. The House, the Senate, and I'm sure the governor will probably sign it.
Sorry,
It's
can
probably
you
signed by
just
now.
clarify, is impeachment off the table?
Well, impeachment takes 2/3 votes. Right now, there's not even a majority vote, so unless something happens that would compel the body to come together with a 2/3 vote in the House, I would say it's off the table.
And to Senator Milner's point, the school board's acted, and if you look at what impeachment does, they've done probably 80% of what impeachment would do already.
Speaker, you said that Representative Romero was pretty upset because she had a sub that had, a resolution for impeachment instead of censure. She was upset that the debate got cut short before the House could have that debate. Your thoughts on that?
You know, that's part of the process. Again, I think that shows that there wasn't near the amount of support needed for the articles of impeachment. Our body knew that that was going to happen and going to come. And rather than to allow that political theater to play out, I think the focus wanted to be on what was best for the family and not make it about political statements.
Without a public vote, how does that say that there wasn't level of support for impeachment?
There was a public vote. It was pretty clear. You can go back and listen. There was only a handful of people that yelled that they wanted to keep the debate going.
Does this embolden Cline, though, by not taking an impeachment action? Does this allow her to kind of do a victory lap? You have not removed her from office, and does she become a martyr to the cause as a martyr?
Wow, a victory lap over being censored? I don't know how you.
Well, Speaker, this morning you said she dug in and is saying she's the victim.
Yeah, that's probably been one of the most disheartening things that I've seen. To see her dig in the way she has. She's not remorseful. She does feel like she's the victim, and it's sad. And it's sad to see some of the people rally around her, to be quite frank. And to put that on a national platform, I think is wrong.
And if she'd have had a different, perhaps, view of what she's done, I'm not sure we would be here today. I think that defiant attitude of not knowing or realizing she's done things wrong is very troubling to most of us.
You're taking a very big risk with this by hoping that the voters vote her out. There's a non-zero chance that she could win re-election. If that happens, have you gained that possibility out? Because you're fairly confident in something that's not 100%.
Do you not trust the voters, Brian?
I'm just saying.
No, I'm just saying you don't trust the voters.
That's not the question. The question is, there's a non-zero chance
I
that she
think
can get re-elected. Have you thought of that eventuality?
I've heard of a representative, I believe that was actually a state house member in New York. It was actually, they tried to remove from office. They couldn't because the elected official, he went through and actually was re-elected. So the possibility's there, but he carried that with him through his entire political career. It's possible, but the fact of what we're doing, what the school board has done is fairly significant, and the voters will decide, but I'm not going to speak for the voters one way or the other, but it is a possibility, but we've done what we think is right. And again, this isn't about a re-election to me. This isn't about trying to manage or micromanage an election process. This is a matter about standing up, calling something right or wrong. We've called it wrong. We've done it. We hope you understand that, and we're standing up, I think, as tall as we can to say what she did was wrong. And we don't want to elongate the process. We're thinking of the victim, and I hope everyone else will think of the victim. This is hard on their family. This is not pleasant. Everything we do reflects on her, and we need to be very careful.
The victim's family asked for impeachment.
So you said avoiding impeachment is in the best interest of the victim and her family. Have you had a conversation with them since this morning, since their op-ed published, in which they said differently?
I have had conversations with the family. They've been really good, supportive of the process, and I just want to thank them. They're great people, and I appreciate again, the conversations that we've been able to have and through this process.
As we leave, Representative Spendlove, Senator Milner, any final comments?
No, I agree. I think our focus now needs to be on supporting this young victim, supporting her family, supporting her school and her community.
I agree. We need to think about how we help her recover from this situation, and we wanted this to be a show of support for her, and I think unanimous votes are a show of support for her.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for coming today. As you just heard, Representative Spendlove's resolution on censoring Natalie Cline passed the House floor and we voted on it. This microphone's a little off. We were disappointed with how that process went because I had a substitute resolution that was calling to start the proceedings to impeach State Board member Natalie Cline, and we weren't given that option, and I felt like the process was erupted, and we didn't get the chance to voice our concerns about Natalie Cline and why it was so important for us to start the impeachment process. A lot of people talked about this young woman on the House floor. A lot of people talked about how it impacted other young people. But if you know the family and you read what the family had to say, they would love to see impeachment process as well. So we, as House Democrats, were disappointed that we weren't given that opportunity. So we're here talking to the community now, letting the community know that we heard them and we wanted to start the proceeding to impeach Natalie Cline, but weren't given the opportunity on the floor today. So as representatives of the people of Utah, we hear the responsibility of upholding the trust placed in us by our constituents. Utahns have entrusted the future of their children in the hands of leaders like Natalie Cline, expecting them to uphold the highest standard of integrity and decency. Cline's actions have shattered that trust, and that's why we wanted to start the proceedings of impeachment. Her refusal to acknowledge and address her actions through resignation is very disappointing, and censorship can only do so much. Again, we wanted to start the process of impeaching, the impeachment process, and we're really disappointed that we weren't given that opportunity on the House floor. And I'm going to turn some time over to some of my other colleagues here who have some stuff to say as well.
I also want to just add my voice and thank my colleagues for being vested in this process, invested in listening to communities about the degree to which we respond to bad behavior, to meet the extremity to which the behavior brought about. Natalie Cline's behavior is beyond the pale. She has also, in response to that, refused to accept responsibility, has refused to show any kind of shame or chagrin for her behavior, not just toward the child that she targeted or her family, but her entire community. We feel that the censure, although we supported the bill, most House members supported the bill, does not go far enough, and it only is a form. It's a sign of disapproval, and we have to do more than just disapprove of this kind of behavior. And while I appreciate that every House member should and does have an opportunity to have their voice in this matter, we are very disappointed that even having a discussion or a debate about going further and talking about impeachment was entirely precluded in our time on the House floor. And so we're grateful to you all to be here, to be a part of this discussion, and to question why the issue of impeachment was never given an opportunity for debate on the House floor.
Can I ask Representative Garner, why did you vote against the censure motion? You were one of two votes against it.
Sorry, the debate was restricted, so I couldn't get up there and say. I had a call from a constituent a couple nights ago. Her daughter has not left her room since the board member Cline's tweets, Facebook message. She has not eaten, and she is very afraid that she's going to lose her daughter to suicide if we don't take stronger action. I could not take that vote in favor of this resolution without thinking of her and the consequences that could have. My wife is a public school teacher. If she did this, she would be fired. I'm a PTA president. If I did that, I would be removed from that office. And I feel like this resolution was an endorsement of board members Cline's actions, or continued actions, not a censure at all. Thank you.
Representative Romero, did the House Majority Caucus give you an opportunity to discuss before they ran this resolution on the floor? Because the language of this came out public about 1:30. Who made the decision on what it would say?
That's a good question. Again, this is not about politics. This is not about Democrats. This is not about Republicans. This is about a young girl who was cyber-bullied by an elected official in a position of trust. And yes, she has freedom of speech, and she said many horrific things about LGBTQ, kids, individuals, people of color, but she crossed the line when it came to free speech, when she cyber-bullied a child. And she put that child at risk. And the implications of what Representative Gardner said about kids everywhere, it's not even about whether we censor her, it's the message it sends that we're not taking this seriously and her actions seriously. This has nothing to do with her First Amendment rights. This has everything to do with her as a person in a position of trust, bullying a child. And we wanted to take that process further. We wanted to start the process of impeachment because we care about all of our children, regardless of their sexual orientation, their gender identity. It is important that the people of Utah know that there are people here fighting for them and for their children, and we will not tolerate this behavior.
I did some research on Board Member Cline. She has a web page, as every member of the state school board has. In her web page, it notes that she has spoken out and advocated for student data privacy. Putting a picture of a student with a basketball jersey and an identifying jersey number on a website with critical comments is an egregious violation of that student's data privacy. She is not consistent with her own values. In my opinion, she is clearly guilty of malfeasance of office of a member of the State Board of Representatives.
We'd like you for thanking you for coming out today. We have to go back up to the House floor and do the people's job, but we wanted the community to know, the public to know, that we did have the substitute. We were going to try to start that impeachment process, but we were silenced on the House floor, and so that's why we're here today to talk to the community. This is not about politics again. This is about process, and I want people that to be very clear. This is about process. We're not playing politics. What happened up there was politics. Thank you.